Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to call to order this meeting of the Murray City Municipal Council for Tuesday, January 5th, 2016, and welcome all of you here. There are many of you here for this special meeting, obviously, to witness the swearing in of our newly re-elected council members, and we appreciate you being here. There's so many dignitaries here. We welcome you, former mayors Lynn Pett and Dan Snar. Welcome, and of course our former commissioner and legislator Jack DeMann. Good to have you here. And Carol Spackman-Moss, we welcome you, representative from District 37, and she will be speaking today. And who am I missing?
Lynn Pett.
Yeah, did I not say Lynn Pett? Okay.
Richard Snellgrove. Yeah, Richard Snellgrove.
Yes, Richard Snellgrove, welcome, County Council member. We want to remind you that if you have cell phones, we'd like to have you make sure that they're on silent or turned off. If you would, we'd appreciate that. This meeting is being streamed live on murraycitylive.com and will be available for rebroadcast. We also welcome department heads and employees who are here, as well as members of the Chamber of Commerce. So welcome all of you. We'll begin with our opening ceremonies with a presentation of the colors and the Pledge of Allegiance by the Murray City Fire and Police, which will be followed by a musical number by the by the Murray High School Madrigals. Could all rise.
Left. Present. Horse. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Cal. Order. Hoot. Post. Color.
You may be seated.
Or not.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home
My apologies to all of you and to the Madrigals. I didn't realize the national anthem was their musical number. The purpose of our meeting today, as I mentioned, is to witness the oath of office for our newly re-elected council members. And I think it speaks volumes to the city council that we have all three council members re-elected. And we will now have that oath of office administered by Jennifer Kennedy, our Murray City Recorder, and we'll do that in order of the council district. First, District 1, Dave Naponsky. Following his oath, then Dave, if you'll make some remarks. And then we'll have the swearing in of Jim Brass, District 3. And then, Jim, you're invited to make some remarks, followed by Council District 5, Brett Hales. And Brett, you were also welcome to make remarks. We'll proceed to that point.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your
I,
name.
David Ponsky,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support, obey, and defend
to support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and perform the duties of my office
and perform the duties of my office
as a Murray City Council member
as a Murray City Council member
with fidelity.
with fidelity. I'll do it up there. I want to begin by acknowledging some of the folks in this office that have played a major role in my life and why I've ended up where I am today, and as far as being a Murray City Council person. A couple of hooligans, Rodney Mather and Michael Romero, who helped me in my re-election bids, both terms. I want to acknowledge Mayor Lynn Pett for his support, and I want to acknowledge Jack DeMann, who I had the pleasure of working with for a number of years out at what is now known as ATK Aerospace. And of course, I want to take time and recognize the family members that are here today. My mother, Mariel Tyler, my daughter, Elizabeth Nick-Ponsky, and my wife, Jerry Lynn Nick-Ponsky. And if you three would please stand. Yeah. You're not going to stand. Okay. Well, there they are. If I've left someone out, let me know, but afterwards. But I just wanted to take a brief moment. I'm not going to be long. The slogan that I run my campaign on is placing residents first, and I soundly believe in that slogan. It's we can get involved in city agendas, and sometimes we forget who we're here to service, and that is the resident. And the nice thing about being in Murray is we have an administrative group that understand that. I can't think of a resident's request that I have taken that I haven't gone to either the fire chief, the police chief, or Public Works, and it's been taken care of. Or if I've gone to the mayor's office, and usually the mayor steps in and solves the problem. And that's what placing the residents first means to me, is being cognizant of that in our offices and who we're here to serve, and being sure that our bureaucracy doesn't get carried away and forget who comes first. So anyway, that's the extent of my comments, and thank you all for being here.
I, Jim Brass,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support, obey, and defend
to support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and perform the duties of my office
as a Murray City Council member
as a Murray City Council member
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Thank you. I'll be brief too. Again, excuse me for being a little nervous. I've done this a few times, but you know, you get this thought in your head. You're going to stand up and be eloquent and thank everybody, and then you get in front of a crowd and it's like nothing. But that being said, I do want to thank my constituents in the 3rd District who've been incredibly kind to me for, it's been 12 years now, so this will be my 4th term. It's been a while. It's humbling to have that kind of support from a great district. The other one is our employees. We have a lot of police officers here, a lot of firefighters, city employees. You know, Murray is a great town. It's a small town in a big valley, but it is a fabulous city, and it's our people that make it what it is. I firmly believe, I say this a lot, we get reelected because our employees go out and get the things done that our citizens ask of us. And the support that you've shown and the fact that my wife Jennifer and I have been welcomed into the Murray City family, that also is quite humbling. It's something that it's probably one of the nicest things about being elected. We have fabulous people, and I appreciate them being here. And finally, my family, particularly my wife, who's allowed me to do this for 12 years and now 4 more. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time away from the family. My wife Jennifer's here. She's on the end of the first row. My son Scott was able to come, and my new daughter-in-law Liz. So thank you, and if you want to stand, you can, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. And Mayor Snar, we worked together for 10 years, and it was a great 10 years, so I'm glad all of you are here. Thank you for everything. I look forward to another 4 years.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Brett Hales,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support, obey, and defend
to support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and perform the duties of my office
and perform the duties of my office
as a Murray City Council member
as a Murray City Council member
with fidelity.
with fidelity. Thanks, Jennifer. She got a big smile. I said with fidelity. 4 years ago, I said infidelity, and I was a nervous wreck, and of all things to say, but I looked at her and I go, with fidelity, and she looked at me, and I have done it for 4 years with fidelity, so. I'm so grateful to be in this suit. It feels so good to be in a suit. I hate suits. Anyway, I'm grateful for this opportunity. I also would like to thank everyone that has supported. The District 5 has been phenomenal. It's been wonderful to be able to get out and meet the people and literally know who our constituents are and to listen, and it's just been great. I always said that I'm their voice because they're the ones that elected me, and sometimes I've even gone against something that I kind of felt, but there was such a large majority of the constituents that wanted it that I went with it because it's what they wanted. And I thought that was always important. I also would like to thank my wife, Cindy. She's amazing. Cindy, we've been married, we're going on 34 years. And Cindy is like, she sheetrocks, she puts plumbing in, she did our sprinkler system. I'm not kidding you. This lady does it all, and she's a wonderful gal and has blessed us with 5 wonderful children. just amazing children that have treated us with respect. Really, our entire life, our kids have been so respectful to us and polite, and have just been wonderful kids. And we can't say how grateful we are for our children. We have today with us, there's Cindy there, just raise your hand. And Tammy's next to her. Tammy's husband, Trevor, is down at BYU. He couldn't make it. BYU. Dan, I mean, he could have left BYU and come up here. That's no biggie. Jeez. If it was University of Utah, we understand. But okay. So, and then the two, well, I'm going to first say Ashley. She's our oldest. Chad, next to her husband. And then they have two children, Kinsley and Zach. Kinsley and Zach, raise your hands. And we have two more on their way, so we're going to have double our grandkids. And then Lloyd is Courtney, our daughter Courtney Lloyd Winkleman. Thank you, Lloyd. He came out from Provo, so thank you for coming out. He's not in school anymore. He's at work, so he can kind of do what he wants. And then my brother, Paul. Paul is the second of the oldest in the family. Why did I say that? He's just one of the family members. Okay, Paul and his wife, Della. And now if I miss any other family members, right there, Perry and Julie. See, I'm glad this is Cindy's sister, Julie Franson, and her husband, Perry Franson. Thank you for being here, you guys. So anyway, thanks again. Grateful for everyone that's here. I've been a blast being able to work with the administration. I have loved working with Ted Iyer. We loved Dan Snar. Dan and I hit it off. Dan is kind of the cause of this, and it's been a blessing in my life. I have multiple sclerosis, and I was kind of concerned if I'd be able to do this. It's literally helped me. It's been a major help for me to be able to get out and be able to do things and get involved. And so, but Ted, I really appreciate you and Ruth have become just wonderful friends of mine and Cindy, and we love you to death. It's been great. Frank is our legal representative. Thank you, Frank, for all you've done. And then Justin, who works with us, our department, Justin Zolliger, thank you for everything you've done. You're a wonderful finance guy. And then all the department heads, we're grateful, and the whole administration staff. And it's just been wonderful to be able to connect together with the administration and the council and get along and be friends. I love working with Diane, Jim, Blair, and Dave. They have been a blast to be able to work with. And then we couldn't have done any of this without Jan Lopez. Jan Lopez is like just absolutely amazing. She's the one that puts everything together. And now we have a new assistant, Patty. I don't know if Patty's, there she is out there waving. Thanks, and thanks to all the employees of Murray City. You've treated me wonderfully, so I appreciate it, and I love being a part of this. And thanks to everyone, and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. It's been said that Dan Snar is kind of the cause of a lot of things, but we won't go there. As I mentioned earlier, we're very happy to have Representative Carol Speckman Moss with us today. Carol is a longtime representative and friend of Murray City, and we'll be pleased to hear from Representative Moss now. And then following her remarks, Mayor Iyer, we'd love to hear some remarks from you.
There, that's better. Now I can see all of you. Well, thank you very much. I'm honored to be invited to speak today and say a few words. And congratulations to the new council men and women. And Mayor Iyer, council persons, Representative Polson, who also represents Murray Polson, who represents part of Murray, and Richard Snellgrove, county councilman, former mayor Lynn Pett, cousin Dan, yes, he is my cousin, Dan Snar, and of course, Mayor Iyer. It's been a huge privilege for me to represent Murray. For many years, I had part of Murray, the annex part, but not until 2012 did I get a big part of Murray, central Murray, right where we are, and did I really get in touch with the people, the residents of Murray, and feel so comfortable. Our first home was actually in Murray, and my great-grandfather Snar settled here and had a large farm for many years, so it was like coming home again. So I cannot tell you, I can tell you, but you know what I'm talking about when you say put the residents first, how much people love Murray. On Capitol Hill, Murray is the envy of cities all over the state. You have a good tax base, folks. I live in Holiday. We have a big empty space in Holiday. So I can't tell you what a wonderful thing. And I love your facilities. I took my grandchildren to the ice skating rink last week. I go to Fashion Place Mall every morning. I saw Marie Polson there. I see many of you there to walk. Anyway, it's a great place to live, and I'm so proud to represent it. I understand what you say, Jim, when you say you always forget things. So as an English teacher of many years and a writing teacher, I always write what I'm going to say. Then I rarely pay attention to it. And this morning I went through and I crossed things out and drew lines, and it looks like one of the papers I used to grade. And I don't know if it'd get a very good grade, but there are a few things I want to talk about in terms of public service. You know, all of you, that municipal government is the government that most people say is the best because it's the closest to the people. You pay for maintaining the roads and parks and sidewalks and trails. You pay for police and fire protection to keep neighborhoods safe, and you support your local schools and businesses. Your actions affect everyday lives of your constituents, more than just about any level of government. Now, that can be a blessing and a curse, because if you're like me, you can't walk your dog, you can't go to the store without people stopping you and talking to you. Hey, we need a speed bump on this street. How about another street light? We want more police patrols. There are too many people speeding, right? And try getting through Costco, right? In a short period of time, I know. And that's good, though. The people do feel comfortable saying things like that to you. But sadly, they don't as often. Thank you for your service. And I want to thank you, and I know everybody here, particularly families, know what that service entails. But a lot of times people ask elected officials, myself included, while they may praise you for your services, others say, why in the world do you do that? How can you stand that, running for office, serving, having people complain to you all the time? Who on earth would want your job? Campaigns can be costly. They subject you to criticism, sometimes even harsh personal attacks. And at those times, you might ask yourself, why? Why did I want this job? Well, I think I know some of the reasons. I'm just going to name a few that I think we understand in common. You're a policy wonk. You actually get pleasure out of poring over spreadsheets, right? Am I right? For me, it was a big learning curve because I could interpret a poem. I could analyze a poem or take apart Shakespeare. But to look at a spreadsheet, that was a learning curve for me. But I find it very interesting now. I really do. You love people. That's the main reason. You like to hear their stories. You like to help people resolve problems in getting answers to things. And like Dave said, many times it's just getting to the right people. And that's the one thing that a title will get you, to the top person. Not for yourself, but to help other people, to get answers to their problems. Sometimes they're little things, and sometimes they're really big things, like people that can't pay their property taxes, and you can steer them through a process and going to the hearings and trying to reduce them. Or maybe they can't pay their utility bills, and they really need some help, and you can find some assistance for that. Those are things that sometimes are life and death issues, and you know it really does make a difference. And you also like the give and take of discussion, debate, and, yes, compromise. One thing we learn in office, political office, is that after 200 years in this country, our democratic system is still going back and forth, trying to find that balance of how much government people should have in their lives, how much regulation, how much do we do for people that really helps them, and what hinders them. And that's an ongoing process, and it's really something that's dynamic, and it's fun and it's exhilarating to be part of. And you actually get things done. When I'm campaigning for office, I hear a lot of people complain about Congress, and I have to agree with them. And that's why I like being in state government, but because we balance a budget, we actually pass things, and you do the same thing. And that's what people want to see. Isn't that right? They want to see government work for the benefit of everyone. Now, I know you all just ran again. You got 4 more years, and I see a lot of the same faces. And again, people often say, why do you do this? But I read that a former Secretary of State named Dean Acheson once said, to leave public life is to die a little. What do you think? If he's right, we all have a few years ahead of us, right? To live our lives fully. And one thing that I think we all elected officials have in common is the protection of a society and a way of life that is grounded in a core set of values. And one of those core values is the sanctity of public service and of civil public discourse. And another is the honor of public service, because it really is an honor and a privilege. And I saw a stellar example of this almost 2 years ago now, I think, when 300 to 400 people gathered in an auditorium at IMC. Now, you maybe don't want to hear this word mentioned today, but I'm going to have to say why you were there. For nearly 3 hours, all of you and the mayor listened patiently and responded respectfully to residents of Murray as they told you how they felt about Utopia. Either they loved it or they hated it. And I cannot imagine the pressure on you to take a position that was preferred by your constituents and one that you believed was fair and just. And your decision didn't make everyone happy, did it? But you justified your reasons, and you're still in office today. So hooray. But that's, to me, I sat through those 3 hours at least, not thinking, oh, this is boring and it's taking so long, but thinking this is government at its finest. This is democracy, when people can come and express their opinions freely and have their public officials respect them for what they say, whether they agree or not. So that was an exercise in civic engagement that you don't see too often anymore. Today's instant news gratification is mostly satisfied by scenes of conflict, right? That's what's always at the top of the news, rather than cooperation. Time after time, you give witness to the importance of listening to your constituents, of studying the issues, explaining your position respectfully, and then making a decision. I was on a community council a long time ago. It was the Holiday Cottonwood Community Council before just about a year and a half, 2 years before Holiday Incorporated. And at that point, I was teaching school and raising children, and I didn't really have a lot of extra time, but I kept wondering, who makes those decisions? Why did that building go up there? And then it was vacant. 3, 4, 5-story building on Murray Holiday Road, and then it was vacant for a couple of years. I mean, who decides these things? So I decided I think you had to get about a dozen names on a petition to run, so it wasn't too hard. So anyway, I was on that for about a year and a half, and people came about zoning issues, and want to have home businesses and build their home higher, and other neighbors would come and say, no, it would cut off our view. You know those stories, but those are really important things to people. But one night, we were talking about a certain property and what they wanted to do, and I didn't really know where it was, and I leaned over to the council person next to me and said, do you know where that is? And have you looked at it? What do you think? And she went, haven't you done your homework? And I said, well, I'm really busy. I didn't have time to drive by. And she went, I had taught some of her kids, but she said, well, I'll bet you expect your students to do their homework. and you didn't do yours. Now, that was a valuable lesson because I always go to committee meetings not knowing everything, but I always prepare and I always look ahead and I try to do research on the things that you're going to cover, and I'm sure you do too. Sometimes it's simply driving by a property, right, and looking at it. And other times it's studying detailed briefings, papers. But whatever it is, people expect that, and they deserve that you pay attention and do your homework. So I'm happy that you all still believe that public service can make a difference in the lives of Murray residents and the residential and business community that you affect. That in fact is the reward of public service. And today, I honor all of you for choosing to make that difference.
Thank you, Representative Moss. Mayor, before you start, go ahead. But before you start, Representative Polson, I apologize for overlooking you. I didn't see you out there. We want to recognize you here. Welcome, Representative from District 46. Mayor?
Well, Carol, I don't have anything prepared. I haven't written anything out. And the reason I don't is a long time ago I gave up on what Jim Brass said. He's still a little bit nervous about trying to be eloquent. I gave up on that a long time ago. But I do want to say that I'm honored to follow Carol Spackman Moss today at this microphone. She has represented our area along with Marie Paulson, along with Richard Snellgrove. Those that are in public office have represented Murray so well, the interest of not only our city but our entire state. And I applaud you for the effort that you do. You gave a great deal of honor and respect to our local officials, but we want to give it back to you and tell you how much we appreciate what you do for us. Yours is a part-time job, pretty much, just like theirs is a part-time job. And anyone that's worked for the city realizes that anybody that's on the city council does not have a part-time job. The hours that they spend studying the different issues is just incredible. And the depth that they go into those issues and the distance between the two different types of issues that they look over, they'll make decisions and study things out that are worth tens of millions of dollars. Building a new city hall, building a new downtown, designing what we need to do in order to revitalize our downtown. And they'll do that on a project that's worth tens of millions of dollars that will change the face of our city for 40 or 50 years. And then in the same council meeting, they'll determine an addition onto our animal shelter. And everything in between. And so I just respect them so much. If I had one word to describe, if somebody asked me about our city council and asked me to describe them in one word, it would be integrity. And I have the opportunity of meeting with most of all the other mayors in 2 different meetings each month. And there has hardly been a single meeting, as Carol said, where someone doesn't come up to me, another mayor from another city, and tell me how much they envy the city of Murray because of the reputation that it has of being such a well-run city. Well, the reason it's well-run is because we have wonderful quality employees. We have incredible department heads and senior staff. And then we have a city council that brings it all together, makes the tough decisions. All I do is present ideas. All I do is present budgets. All I do is come up with bizarre things, and I present it to them, and they look it over and determine whether this is appropriate, if we can afford it, if it's legal, if it falls within our budget. They make all these decisions. And that's what makes Murray stand out amongst all other cities in Utah. I don't know if many of you know here that we have an incredibly unique form of government in Murray. We had 244 cities and towns, but I think since the new legislation went through, I think we now have 247 cities and towns in the state of Utah. And out of those 247 cities and towns, we only have 10 of them that have our form of government. That's less than 5%. of our form of government. And every one of our city councilmen have talked to me about how important that is and how much they are grateful for the fact that we have this form of government where we have a strong mayor, a strong city council, where we have divisions between the branches of government, and where our government is set up exactly like our United States government, exactly like our state government, where we have separate branches of government. And I respect what they do, and they expect me to stay within my bounds and do what I'm supposed to do. And because of that, we work so well together. We don't work together just in a business forum. We work together as friends. I don't think I know there isn't a single member on the dais today that I wouldn't refer to as one of my best friends. Every one of them. And that's why they work together. But the beautiful thing about the way they work together is that they are so incredibly independent and so incredibly, they think for themselves, and they're not influenced by anything else except for the good of this city. That's what they're influenced by. So even though they think as five separate individuals, in every single case they come together in unity as one to improve our city and to make our city safer and better for our children and our grandchildren. And so they're making decisions that are not going to affect them or their neighbors or their political future the next year or two. They're making decisions that are going to affect our grandchildren that live here, in a city that probably has more multi-generational families than almost any other city in the valley, because people that grow up here want to live here. They want their children to live here. And the reason they do is because our city is represented and directed and led by quality people such as the five that are on this diocese today. So I applaud you for your intelligence. I applaud you for your independence and your integrity and your willingness to do whatever it needs to do with regards to hours that you spend on making the decisions that you make that improve this city. In the last 2 years have been the most exciting and rewarding 2 years of my life. And that is because I have the privilege of working with you. And so I want to thank you very much. And I want to thank all the forms of other elected officials that are here. We have state representatives. We have county representatives. We have school representatives. We have representatives from different department heads. We have citizens that are here just because they love this city and are concerned about it. And so that's the support that you have. And that's the support that you've earned. So thank you very much for all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor, for your kind words. I think that really says something when a former airline pilot says that the last 2 years were the most exciting of his life. In conclusion, here this afternoon, I just want to once again express congratulations to Dave, Jim, and Brett for being reelected. This council can move forward without even a hiccup, and look forward to continue serving with you. And Diane, is there anything you would like to say?
I think it's about all been said, but I would also like to offer my congratulations to Dave, Jim, and Brett. It's been wonderful working with you the last 2 years, and I look forward to the next 2. So, what a wonderful council, mayor, administration. We're just very, very lucky, blessed people. And thank you for being here.
Thank you, Diane. And once again, thank you all for being here. A reminder that there will be a luncheon out here in the foyer as we conclude here. And that's the end of our agenda, and we'll be adjourned until 5:15 this evening.